How do you feel about using critters on masculine cards? Today in my Gimme 5, we're going to put that to the test. Hi, it's Therese from Lostinpaper and I've got some fun products here from Penny Black. I wanted to make some masculine cards today and there's going to be 5 of them. So I grabbed out some critter sets because I thought I wanted to see if I could use critters on masculine cards. And these are the sets that I sort of thought might work. Some of the sets have a couple of images that could be used on a men's card design, and obviously I didn't use them all. But I just thought I'd share with you my thought process on how I would choose what I'm going to use. And it comes down to basically what inspires me on the day and what sort of suits the card designs that I'm making. These are older sets, most of them from Penny Black, and some of my faves, my go-to, and I keep coming back to them time and again. So I'm going to start by stamping out my cards. This is Cool Cat's car, and the sentiment I'm putting with it today comes from the Your Retro set. And I did white heat emboss that on some black cardstock because I want to make a speech bubble. The chat bubble set is probably one of my favourite die sets from Penny Black, and I did have to make a template because it's a solid die, and that just makes sure that I've got it in the right position when I do cut it out. I just wanted to show you this sentiment here that I'm using. I did it in 2 parts. It's quite a large sentiment, but I wanted to stamp the first portion on the outside of the card, and then I stamped the second portion on the inside of the card. And that's from a set which is called Birthday Love. Now I've got the cake from It's Your Day, and this has got a critter on it, but this critter is not going to feature in the cards today. It's been blotted out by a post-it note. And then I've white heat embossed a sentiment from the Birthday Humour stamp set because I just love this cake sentiment. But I did miss stamp that, so I just wanted to show you that you can restamp and reheat emboss if you need to. On my next card I used the Birthday Humour set and the Tiny Treats. There was 2 dog images that I really liked from this set, but I wanted them to be about the same size. And initially I'd planned to stamp them out together using the Misty, but they aren't the same height. The photopolymer is different height, so they weren't stamping very well. So I did actually stamp them separately. This is not a fault, it's just part of the manufacturing process. So if you're having that problem when you're stamping multiple images, that may be what the problem is, and you just need to stamp them separately. Next I'm going to do all of my colouring, and I've got my Inktense pencils which I haven't used in an age. I have actually stamped all my images in a pigment ink, and they are on the Nina 110 pound cardstock. So this is not watercolour cardstock, but it does tolerate a little bit of water, so I am making sure just to use a little bit. I found that this water brush pen that I was using was just too wet. In the end I had to empty the barrel. It's a really old water brush pen, is that what they're called? Something like that. So I love the intensity of these Inktense pencils. They are not very forgiving though, and work quite differently to a lot of the other watercolours in the fact that once the colour is down it's permanent and it can't be shifted. So if you do want to try and shift some colour, you need to try and do it while it's wet, or wait for it to dry and go over top. And that's what I kind of do that with all of these images today. I do like a light washy layer of colour and then come back in and add some pencil details afterwards, and that's a technique that works really well. And I like this kind of washy, not perfect look for the masculine cards. Other things I like for masculine cards is to have them very clean and simple. I really like bright colours, and one of my favourite things is to add a fun sentiment or do something like this where the image is actually stamped off the edge of the design, and it's a pretty cool image. Even though it's a critter, it's still a pretty cool. He's got sunglasses on. It doesn't get any cooler than that for a cat. I have Stretched it just a little bit further on the next one. I don't know what you define as a critter. To me, critters are more like the cats and the hedgehogs and those sorts of things. They're like that real cutesy sort of look. But to me, this dog is cute. There's nothing not cute about it. Look at those eyes. And this is from a set called Doggy Treat. And he's not sort of along the other critter lines. Let me know what you think. Do you think that this dog is classified as a critter? I don't know. Anyway, he made it into this set of cards. And I did colour him quite a bit more than the other images. I did do it like a full wash of brown on him with the Inktense, and then came back with a second layer of the brown and also added some of the shadowing afterwards with the pencil as well. And now that I've done the first layer on all of my designs, like all the first layer of, or the wash of colour, I come back in and add some more details and shading. So this card here is actually stamped directly on the front of the card and is very one layer and very clean and simple. Probably the most clean and simple of today's designs. Let me know. Because now it's finished. You can see where I smudged a little bit of that pen, the orange pencil, when my marker, what do you call it, water brush marker was flooding. It was just doing my head in. But I think I got away with it. You can't see it too bad if they look really close. For this cool cat, he got a little bit of shading on his scarf and colour. I wasn't originally going to add any colour at all, and I was going to stamp him right over the top of the car in some black ink, but the chat bubble won out here instead. It's funny how your card designs, I don't know, do yours? Mine kind of evolve, especially when I have no exact plan. I do have a plan, but it's a blurred kind of version of a plan. Do your cards evolve? I think everyone's must, to a point, especially if I get splotches on somewhere or splatter somewhere as well. So I am adding some more shading to this cool cat here, and I did add a little bit of shadow beneath him as well. And this is where I've come back into the dog, and I think this just makes all the difference, adding that second layer of colour and coming back and adding the shading. And I did a lot of the shading with the grey here, and of course all the pencil names will be linked at the blog, and that link will be in the description below if you want to know exactly what pencil colours that I used. So this is the cake, and I wanted it to have a glow around the candles, so probably in retrospect I would have coloured the flame in with Prismacolor pencils, but I did use the Inktense because they are a pencil as well. But around the flames here I did use my Prismacolors, put a base of white, and then came in with some orange. And then now I'm going to start putting the rest of my cards together. I have a speech bubble. I was actually going to leave this cat with no sentiment. It just looked like, I didn't like it. I needed something. So I did a chat bubble with the word happy birthday heat embossed, and that came out of the Good Wishes stamp set. And I think that just made all the difference here. Still very clean and simple. And almost one layer. You've seen this cat before. If you've been here before, you've seen this cat. The motorbike card is the only one that I sort of popped the panel up on and used some foam behind that. And that's the one I did have to make sure I grabbed the right card for this one, because this is the one I stamped the rest of the sentiment on the inside. And this cat is a lot of fun too. I like him. Now this panel, so this is the one that I'm a bit sort of wary on when you might say, well, this is not a critter. It had a critter on the panel. I just blocked it out. So, in my defense. And I have got a clear glitter pen here, and I am going around where I've got the Prismacolor pencil areas around the edge of the flames to give it a little bit of shimmer. And it kind of, because it's a liquid, it does help melt the wax a little bit and make it all shiny. I'll pop the dog up on the front there. I will try and give you a look at the shine in one of the pictures so you can just see it. There you go, that's 5 critter cards for men. Thanks so much for joining me. If you like this video, please click on the thumbs up button to let me know that you did, and also if you haven't already, it'd be wonderful if you could subscribe to my channel. I appreciate every visit that you make here and look forward to seeing you again here real soon. Till next time, happy paper crafting. Bye.